The trap. One night. One mistake. One deadly game. Chapter 1. The perfect illusion. Nathan had always been a man of control. At 32, he was sharp, confident, and successful. A man who controlled situations, not the other way around. And then he met Olivia. She was elegant, intelligent, a little older than him, but that only made her more desirable. From the moment they met, Nathan was hooked. Their connection was effortless. Olivia wasn't like the immature girls he usually dated. She was a woman who knew what she wanted. And she wanted him. At least that's what he thought. But Olivia had a secret. A secret named Sophia. Chapter 2. The Forbidden Spark. Sophia was 19. Beautiful. Too beautiful. The first time Nathan met her, she looked at him like she already knew all his secrets. She wasn't shy. She didn't blush or giggle like most girls her age. Instead, she smiled slow, knowing, dangerous. And Nathan? He should have walked away. But he didn't. Chapter 3. The dangerous game begins. Sophia didn't flirt. She tempted. She walked around the house in tiny shorts and no bra, stretching in ways that made Nathan look, even when he knew he shouldn't. She brushed against him in the hallway, just long enough to make his pulse race. And at night, she stood outside his bedroom door watching him, just standing there, smiling, waiting. For weeks, Nathan ignored it, told himself it was in his head, until the night Olivia went out of town. And Sophia? She was waiting in his bed. Chapter 4. The affair that shouldn't have happened. This is wrong, Nathan whispered. Sophia smirked. Then stop. He didn't. That night, everything spiraled. The affair started fast and reckless. Stolen moments in the kitchen, whispered touches in the hallway. It was dangerous, exciting, addictive. And Nathan? He thought he was in control. But he was so wrong. Chapter 5. The setup. One evening, Olivia called him into the living room. Sophia sat beside her. Both of them were smiling. Nathan's gut twisted. You didn't think we knew? Olivia said smoothly. Sophia giggled. Men are so stupid. Nathan froze. His hands turned cold. What are you talking about? Olivia slid a USB across the table. Everything, she whispered. Every text. Every call. Every time you touched her. Nathan's pulse roared in his ears. His worst nightmare was coming true. And then Olivia said the words that made his blood turn to ice. We own you now. Chapter 6. The blackmail. They had proof. And if he didn't cooperate, they'd take it straight to the police. You'll be labeled a predator, Olivia said, sipping her wine. Sophia smirked. You'll rot in prison. Nathan's fists clenched. What do you want? Olivia leaned forward, her voice silk and poison. Everything. Chapter 7. The escape attempt. Nathan withdrew all his cash, bought a burner phone, and in the dead of night he disappeared. For 3 days, he hid in cheap motels, constantly looking over his shoulder. He thought he had made it, until the police found him. They said you were dangerous, the officer told him. That you hurt them. Nathan's stomach dropped. They had set him up. And now, he had one choice left. Chapter 8. The fall. Nathan ran. Through the streets. Through traffic. Through the city. And when he reached the bridge, he knew. This was the end. Olivia and Sophia stood below, watching. Smiling. Nathan turned to face them one last time. Then, he jumped. Chapter 9. The return. The world thought he was dead. Olivia and Sophia celebrated. Until 3 months later. Late one night, Olivia woke up to a sound. A creak in the hallway. She sat up, heart pounding. Sophia? Silence. Then, a soft, familiar voice. Miss me? Chapter 10, The Last Mistake. Nathan had survived, and he had spent months planning his revenge. They screamed, they begged, but he didn't listen. He had spent too long in the dark. And now, it was their turn. The last thing Olivia saw was the flash of a knife. The last thing Sophia felt was his breath against her ear. And the last thing they heard? His laughter. Chapter 11. A New Beginning. For 3 days, Nathan stayed in the same room where he had killed them. He didn't sleep, didn't eat, just sat in the darkness, staring at the walls, replaying every moment in his head. Then, while searching through Olivia's drawers, he found a photo. A woman. She looked just like Olivia, but younger. Her sister. Her name was Evelyn. And just like that, Nathan had a plan. Chapter 12. Reinventing himself. Nathan changed everything. New ID. New city. And 1 year later, he was married to Evelyn. She never knew the truth. Never knew who he really was. Never knew what he had done. And as he lay beside her at night, listening to her breathe, he thought, maybe, just maybe, he had finally won. Chapter 13. The Last Betrayal. Years passed. Nathan had lived the perfect second life. Evelyn never suspected a thing. They had 3 children, and later grandchildren. Nathan had become what he never thought possible, a family man. He was no longer the broken man who once fell into a trap. No longer the monster lurking in the dark. Or so he thought, because the past never truly dies. The crime that changed everything. One evening, Nathan's grandson, Liam, got into trouble. A stupid mistake. A bar fight that turned deadly. Liam didn't mean to kill the guy, but the law didn't care about intentions. The police arrested him, and as part of the case, they took his DNA. Routine procedure. Nothing out of the ordinary. Until flagged a match. A ghost from the past. Nathan was watching TV when he heard the knock on the door. A sound from another lifetime. 2 officers stood outside, smiling, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It was the kind of smile that said, "We've been waiting for you." "Mr. Carter?" The officer tilted his head. Nathan's stomach dropped. That wasn't his real name. Not the one he was born with. Not the one from before. The arrest. The officer stepped inside. Nathan's wife froze. His children stared in shock. "We need you to come with us," one officer said. Nathan knew exactly what this was about. The past had finally caught up. And for the first time in decades, he was afraid. The trial that shocked the world. Nathan's double life unraveled in front of the world. The DNA match linked him to Olivia and Sophia's cold case murders. The public ate it up. A beloved grandfather. A hidden killer. His children despised him. His wife wept in court. And his grandson, the one whose mistake had exposed him, he refused to even look at him. And that hurt more than prison ever could. The last reflection. Sitting in his tiny prison cell, Nathan stared at the walls. Just like he did the night he killed them. He had thought he won. That he escaped. That his sins had died with the past. But the past never stays buried. And the game had played him all along. Final reflection. Who was the real monster? They thought they were in control. They thought they could destroy him. But in the end, Nathan became something else. A ghost. Predator. A man with a new name. And a new life. And no one would ever find out. Because this time, He played the game right,